Welcome back. We continue with our programming of Black History Month with Context Cooking with Chef Fulani, who will be introduced shortly. Just a quick disclaimer once again, views expressed by the speakers and workshop facilitators do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the organizing groups. All programming uses the Zoom meeting or webinar format. The webinar format is meant to prevent unexpected interruptions. However, that doesn't mean we don't want to hear your voice. In fact, it's just the opposite. We'd love to hear from you. Questions for speakers can be submitted using the question and answer chat function. This programming is brought to you by the Black Literacy and Arts Collaborative, which support literacy and arts resources for under-resourced communities of color. They have mentorship programs, storytelling to build trust in the medical system, a project aimed at spreading love in our communities through strangers, and book giveaways. You can learn more about them at theblackproject.org. Similarly, a portion of the programming has been created by the People's Heart, which is an institutional and community art and placemaking collaboration with the mission of ensuring a future healthcare culture that empowers underserved patients and communities of color through art and design. Programming includes art on walls, workshops, lectures like this, and pop-up health events. You can learn more about them at the People's Heart. Now it is with pleasure that I transfer over to Irene, who is an acupuncturist at Mass General Hospital.
Hello. Hello, and thank you so much for inviting me to introduce Chef Fulani and this wonderful workshop. As Dan mentioned, I'm an acupuncturist and I'm the program manager for acupuncture, massage therapy, and yoga at the Cancer Center. And we provide those services to adult cancer patients and adult sickle cell disease patients through our new clinic at the Cancer Center. And we also work with pediatric patients, both ambulatory and inpatient. And as someone who studied traditional Chinese medicine, the importance of nutrition for health and well-being is something that's integral to the work I do, which is why I'm so excited about the presentation that Chef Fulani is going to do for us today. She is not only a nurse, retired nurse, but she's also a jazz singer, and she's been involved in creating wonderful community programming for quite a long time in Roxbury and Dorchester. I was particularly interested in learning that she has done a lot of community gardening work with young people in Dorchester and Roxbury, really focused on education, nutrition education, cooking education, field trips, and really helping young people to learn how food can be a real tool for well-being. One of her other community groups she's involved with is the Stinging Nettle Brujxs Healing Collective, which is a group of amazing people which is focused on healing in a radical decolonized way that's grounded in ancestral wisdom, which is also integral to the work I do, which is a tradition passed on from teacher to teacher to student to student. And the collective uses skill shares, which I think is a wonderful idea, workshops, also pop-up clinics, community events, and herbal walks and retreats to create a space for medicine to transcend into wellness. And we know that nutrition is medicine, but also community is medicine, and that the power of cooking together as a group and is very healing. So I'm really excited and delighted to introduce Chef Fulani, and I look forward to learning from you and hopefully meeting you in one of your community gardens once the weather gets better. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That's a nice lady you just spoke about. Was that me? Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chef Fulani. I'm a retired nurse. I worked at Boston Medical Center when it was the old city hospital. I'm a pediatric nurse, and my floor, we took in brand new babies to age 8. That was my area. When I retired from nursing, I was trying to fulfill my dreams. I wanted to become a chef. While at chefing school, I found out all about meats and grease and all kinds of things that I was not interested in, but it was a wonderful experience and I got my certification. So what I've done in my full retirement years, I've combined my culinary skills with my nursing skills, understanding what the digestive system is about in young people, middle-aged people, and older people. And I work with all three groups to focus on that digestive system and what are we putting into our systems, okay? So I work at the Urban Farming Institute, which is located on 487 Norfolk Street in Mattapan. And we have a wonderful group of 20 to 25, 65 plus ladies who live in that area. And we were meeting at the farm for many, many weeks. COVID came and then we switched it all to online. So I have Zoom classes every Thursday morning to help the seniors. We're all trying to live to be 100 years old, you know, and drive everybody crazy, but we're working hard on understanding our digestive systems more, understanding what our heart needs, understanding what our colon needs and what our liver needs. What does our skin need? What does our eyes need as we age? Many of us were not told in the beginning when we were younger about nutrition. They did in a way where grandma would go out into the garden and get most bountiful vegetables and chickens and whatnot that she was growing and feed it to our family. But in that day, back in the day, you just sit down and eat your dinner, eat your meal. Whenever we got a treat, it was like, okay, we want to be like Popeye and eat all of our spinach. The spinach was in the can. There was a box of cereal on our table that said, be like Tony the Tiger and roar. So we decided we were going to ball up our fist and roar and eat all those frosted flakes with all of that sugar on it and everything. And so that's how we kind of came up. For those of us who had mothers that weren't interested in, you know, the natural way of eating, TV dinners came into play for us. They were frozen dinners already prepared. Mom and dad get home from work, you pop them out, warm them up, put them in the oven, and we would eat TV dinners. They were portable dinners, very easy to fix. Not to say that, you know, the parents were not trying to give us good foods, but fortunately for me, I had a Barbadian grandmother who I would go over to her house every day and I would learn how to cook from grandma. Her name was Henrietta, and she was from Christchurch, Barbados. That's where I learned my skills. So today I've chosen for you, and you know, before we get started, just think to yourself, what is my junk food? Many of the subjects I talk to about with my seniors are, what are we eating that's junk? What's no good for our heart? What's no good for our colon? Are you chewing your food long enough? Most of us just pop it in because we're hungry. But in our case, we have chewing seniors. My class will be a piece of celery. You can pull the strings off of your stalk of celery, and each senior is given a piece of celery. You cut up your celery an inch wide. You put it in your mouth after I say go. Hold on. And the seniors, they're so frisky and so cute. You know, somebody has already popped it in before I say go, but that's okay. The point of it is I want you to look at what you're eating. Look at that piece of celery. Turn it over. Turn it back over. Tell me what color is. Describe it. Take a few moments just to appreciate the food before you pop it in. That way you're having some control over what you're doing. Most of the time people are popping in food, and they're not really appreciating the food. So, okay, you ready? I've got 36 seniors in my class. And someone has already said, I chewed it already. I didn't say go. So we have a lot of fun. Put the piece of celery in your mouth, and together we're going to count and we're going to chew. Put it in. All right, bite down on that celery. And while you're chewing, I want you to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chew it. I don't want you to stop at 8. I want you to see if you can get to 32, the magical number. Chew it 32 times before you swallow it, because the first step in digestion is in the mouth, where the acids and the saliva are helping to break down the food so that when it goes down our esophagus, which leads to our tummy, it will be easy on the esophagus. Oh, I've already chewed mine. Well, what number did you have? Oh, I had 8. No, darling, I wanted you to get to 32. Oh, but it tastes so good, I couldn't get to 32. So we have a lot of fun in our senior classes. Now we're on Zoom, and this is our cycle 11 that we're doing at the farm. I just wanted to tell you a little story about my senior class. Today, I'm going to make a dish for you that's called spicy green beans. And the spice that I'm going to use is really an interesting one, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but I wanted you to look at the ingredients that we have here. I have some fresh string beans. These are seasonal beans. I got these at the Stop and Shop. I don't usually shop there, but this time I wanted to make sure I bought something that was local in the community. I usually go to Trader Joe's to get my food. I'm a vegan. I'm a vegetarian working on becoming a pure vegan. Sometimes I do well, sometimes I don't. But I've been a vegetarian since 1970. Green beans, fresh cut, all the brown spots have been taken off and the ends have been clipped. We're going to saute these. Before we saute them, I'm going to make a little sauce. I always use pH water when I cook, trying to keep my pH balance in my body. So I use pH water. I don't drink sodas. I don't drink the water that comes out of the tap. I use pH water that I bought. So this is how I'm going to make my sauce, okay? I'm going to use olek tambal, which is a very nice herb, a very nice peppery, and it's not too peppery, but it's enough so it'll give you that savory feeling and savory taste in your mouth that you like, so you don't have to use any salt. At this point, we're all practicing no salt cooking. There's probably a little bit of salt in here, but I'll take a teaspoon. Add it to my water, my pH water. Now I'm making my sauce for my green beans. This is called sambal olek. S-A-M-B-A-L-O-E-L-E-K. Did you get that? Okay, great. Give it a nice stir. And I think that may be a little bit too spicy, so I'm going to add some more pH water to that. I usually use olive oil, but today I'm going to use flaxseed oil. It's one of the different oils that I like to use. I'll use like a hemp oil, a flaxseed oil, earth balance I'll use once in a while, but today I'm going to use flax oil. I put about a teaspoon in here to make my sauce. I'm going to take part of this water, put it in, and we're going to add the string beans to the water. And then we'll continue to make the sauce. Fresh string beans, a lot of wonderful nutrients, vitamins. You can also add celery to this dish, which will give you an increased amount of fiber. I also am going to use garlic. Now this is interesting. If you don't have garlic, I buy these little cubes and they're frozen. And I'm going to pop 2 of these in my sauce. One, 2. Come on, get in there. I'm also going to do the same. It comes in garlic and it also comes in ginger. You can grate your ginger. You can use fresh ginger if you like. But if you don't want it, it's snowing outside, you don't have any ginger, you can't run out to the store, then you can use these frozen little packets of pure garlic, and it also comes in ginger. Now the garlic is a blood purifier. You can add parsley to this dish also, which is a blood purifier. Parsley, curly parsley or flat parsley is excellent. Pop 2 of those tabs in. And I see that the pan is starting to boil a little bit. String beans are a tough, but we just want to get them started. I want them to be slightly softened before I add the sauce. I'm just getting the cover. There we are. So while you're sitting there watching me cook, I'm pressing down the cubes, trying to get them to melt in to this sauce, this nice sauce that I'm going to make. I won't use butter. Butter is fat. Butter has cholesterol. 1 teaspoon of butter, I believe, gives you about 100 calories. That's too much because you don't want to really go over too many calories per day. But just break up the ginger, break up the garlic. I'm going to add, and if you're not allergic to, just 1 drop of soy sauce, just to give a little bit of a flavor. And that's a lightweight soy sauce. When you buy your soy sauces and your tamari sauces and your fish sauces, always look on the back of the label to make sure that you're not adding a lot of salt, especially for 65 plus. But when you get to be around 40 years old, you should start thinking about your senior years and starting to, the aches and pains and we're starting to settle in around 40 or 45 years for women who go through menopause, for men, male menopause, as they call it. But what I need for you to concentrate on is, what does my body need? The body has a lot of systems. They're all working intricately together, and you have to take care of them. Coffee has caffeine. So I want to say to you now, do not put any ENE into your body unless it's medically induced. Caffeine comes from coffee or sodas. Heroin is a drug that you insert with a needle in your arm or wherever. That's an ENE. Nicotine comes from tobacco, cigarettes. And amphetamine are drugs that give you hallucinations. You know, you don't want that in your system at all. Don't follow your friends. Try to stay on a pure diet. And you'll reap the benefits when you get to 40 plus, I tell you. So the seniors and I, we have a lot of fun. One of the seniors, I said, you know, how many meals do you think, if we're 65 plus, how many meals did we eat? So someone did the math and we ate more than 9 million meals, right? So we laugh about that. 9 million meals. I'm just softening these greens. 9 million meals. Okay, so it's time for us to consider our digestive system more and to think about our colon. Our colon does a lot of work digesting the food, absorbing all of the vitamins and nutrients, and shaping the wasted food for evacuation. Colon is a very important part of the body. It does a lot of work, and we want to take care of it. I want you to think about, what junk foods do you eat? What's your favorite junk food? Now, if we were on a regular Zoom, I would have you write your junk food in the chat, and we would have a nice discussion about reading labels, counting calories, overweight. When you stand up, can you see your feet? At one point, I weighed 210 pounds. I couldn't see my feet, and it was all over for me. I wanted to change. 1970, my first child, I changed. I stopped eating all meat products. And I found out, by the way, that my skin, the reason why I had like bad skin, like acne at age 30 and 40, was because I was actually allergic to meat. They ran some tests on me. I'm allergic to meat products. So I eat no fish, no meat, no pork products, or anything like that. My skin has been fine ever since. Let's check on our beans. It's a very easy recipe. And you can have it 2 or 3 days in a row. You can freeze these, you can parboil them and freeze them. You can freeze the cooked dish when you After it's ready, split up into thirds. We're about reducing our stomachs. I tell my seniors, this is the size of your stomach. You see this fist? Hold your fist up. This is the amount of food that should go on your plate. And we laugh about it because we think about Thanksgiving and how much mashed potatoes, how much gravy, how much turkey, how much sweet potato pie, how much whipped cream, how much sweet potatoes, baked sweet potatoes, yams, and baked macaroni and cheese in our community. We eat all of that stuff all the time. And the plate is as big as like a 10-inch plate, and it's packed with food, packed all the way to the edges and packed all the way high top. But this is the amount of food that we should eat. New trend is eating in bowls. But think about this. This is the size of our stomach. And the stomach adapts to the food that we put into it, and the walls, the mucus mucosa in the stomach lining will stretch open to accommodate all of that's on your plate. But it's a no-no. It causes problems eventually. We're no-nonsense seniors, and we are trying to get our bodies together, keep them together, and live to be 100. Now these string beans are taking a little bit longer to, I don't know if they were harvested too early, but they're supposed to be partially softened right now so I can add the sauce in, but that's okay. I put a chopped onions in here. Usually I'll put onions, red onion, a white onion, fresh garlic, pieces of red pepper, yellow pepper, green pepper, all of that to make a nice vegetarian dish for myself. But I'm doing it plain today so you can see how it's going to look. This can be a side dish or a main dish. I think this sauce is pretty well, everything is melted in together. And are you thinking about your junk food? What do you eat for junk food? Chocolate cake? Are you driving around in your car going to Kentucky Fried? You step on the brakes and all of a sudden the biscuit rolls out of the box and you're trying to get that biscuit that has rolled under the seat. All that food is fried, dyed, laid to the side. No good for you. Cholesterol, fat, skin. The skin system is used for perspiration. We should never eat anyone's skin in any animal or anywhere. The skin is a waste helper, you know, and eating all that fried chicken skin is not good for you. Get a pot belly. No beer, leave the beer alone. I mean, it sounds like boring. Oh, this chef, she's boring. She's giving us no fun at all. But you will see in the end, when you're 40, 45 years old, stuff starts kicking in. If you've been doing a good job about taking care of yourself, you're going to be fine. Then you get to be around 60, 65, whatever your DNA is or whatever you've done wrong during your life, or just the cells turn into whatever they want to turn into. Everyone lives with cells in their body, cancerous cells. They lay dormant. But if you agitate it by constantly eating steak and blood and I'm sorry, my meat eaters, I don't mean to do this to you, but it's better if you can move towards a vegetarian diet, a fish diet, poultry with the skin off. Isn't bad. Turkey, poultry, duck, poultry, a bird, you know, if you have to stay on it. You have to stay on that chicken diet because you love chicken so well. Eventually that cholesterol is going to build up and you'll have a problem in that area. So try to be mindful is what I like to think of when I eat. Mindful. I say, Sister Fulani, Chef Fulani, don't you ever go off the handle? Yes, I do. My favorite junk food is Lay's potato chips. So maybe once a month, or maybe not at all, I will get a 25-cent bag that now costs $1.99, 25-cent bag of potato chips. And I'll sit and I'll eat it. It's so salty because I'm not eating salt, but I just wanted the treat. I just wanted to be bad. I just wanted to just go off the mark for a minute. And that's not good to say to folks when you're trying to help them to change, but we all have our moments. You know, what's your favorite junk food? Think about it. How often do you eat it? Do you flip the package over and read the label? Please do that. Let me add a little bit more water to these beans. I love my pH water. I get this pH water by the case at Trader Joe's, and it's an alkaline-based, balanced water. Keeps me going. Okay. Now, yes, they're getting softer. You know, I wonder if these are real string beans, but sometimes when you grow your own food, you know what you have. And I'm into youth gardening. I'm into family gardening. Belong to the farm, so I get a lot of fresh vegetables that I like to eat and put in my body. Waste is a very important part. Now, don't mind if I talk about waste right now, because it's very important. What we eat down, we chew it as much as we can. Chew it many times. Break the food down. That's the first start of the digestive system. Swallow, it goes down a long tube called the esophagus and ends up in our stomach, where more acidic gases, juices, excuse me, will break down the food even further and get it ready to go into the small intestine. Small intestine is about 36 feet long, and that's a long process. Food is absorbed in the small intestine, and when it gets to the large intestine, that's the place that I like to focus on. Make sure if you're going to eat some junk, you're going to have alcohol, make a salad for yourself during the day. One little bowl of salad with all of the roughage and the fiber will help to push all of that bad food out that you've been eating, okay? Stools are very important. I try to remind my seniors, make sure you check and see what your waste looks like. Oh, Chef Fulani, you're grossing us out. No, but this is important for us. Is it black? Is it red? Is your urine yellow or cream color, light yellow, or is it orange like orange juice? What do your stools look like? Please pay attention to that. Are they floating in their little tiny balls? If you have little tiny balls floating around, that's a sign of maybe dehydration. You should have one long colon. It should look like your colon. One long sausage that's floating. If it's floating, then it means that you're on a light diet and you're off to a good start for changing your diet. If it's dull, it has a real bad odor, little tiny balls, or it's floating down in the bottom, because yes, I do want you to look and make sure that you know what's coming out of you, so you'll understand your body, your digestive system, your health and nutrition a lot better. And that's what I do. I just had my 80th birthday. I'm still kicking. I feel good. A few ailments here and there, but I'm still good, you know? All right, now let's add this sauce. This is a very simple meal. So think about if you've got 10 bad foods that you're eating, can you get rid of one this week? Are you eating a lot of pork? Pork has a trichinosis worm in there that if it gets in your body, it's not going to be very pleasant. You have to cook the pork for a long time. It's best not to eat the pig. Have you ever seen how a pig lives? Now, this is nice. I'm not going to cook all of the nutrients out because some people like their string beans really soft. I do not. Adding my sauce. No salt, no pepper, because the sambal olek will give you a nice taste. I believe it's an Asian pepper sauce. I have to look on the bottle again. But I'll show it to you again before we leave. I always go over my ingredients at the end of the class so they can snapshot a picture or write it down. The seniors are good. They have lots of questions and they want to live. They want to be healthy. They've got grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Women tend to follow the directions more so than the men. I have 3 men in my class and 19 females. All right, now just let that simmer in that sauce.
So Chef
A nice
Fulani,
rice.
We have
Yes,
a
and I'll
question.
take some questions if you have a question. That's no problem.
Yeah, we have a couple questions in the chat. One is about the sauce. Irene is asking, would you use the sauce on other things?
Absolutely. I do. I'm from the islands and we're used to having like some kind of spiciness to our food, just a little touch. And I will use it for everything. If you want to marinate your fish, but I would put a little bit on a toothpick or on your baby finger and taste it and see just how spicy it is for you. Whether you're going to need to dilute it or it's not spicy enough for you, you're going to add jalapeno peppers. But don't forget, we're worried about those systems, that digestive system, the lining of the stomach cannot year after year after year take a lot of spicy food. My doctor said, okay, Miss Hayes, you've got to stop eating the Indian food. Oh, I love Indian food. Your pressure is rising up a little bit and you don't want to hurt your stomach. I cut it off immediately. You're just gonna have to give me one warning. I don't fuss with the doctors too much, you know. Not that they always know what they're talking about, but that's really not nice for me to say being a nurse. But I've found some discrepancies in some things, but you work it out with your doctor. Talk with your doctor. Do not be afraid when you walk into your doctor's office to talk. If you feel nervous because you know you have some anxiety when you go in there, get a 2x3 card and write your questions down so that when you get in there for your 20 minutes, you won't forget anything and you'll come out of there feeling good. Wow, I accomplished and I did what I have to do. Back in the day, in the 40s and the 50s, the doctors would come to our homes and they were the doctor for all the people in our family. Very nice. They'd come in with a black bag and he'd have his injections and everything that we needed to be safe and healthy. It was a nice service back then. They've changed all that now. Let's see. Let me go back to the question. Yes, and so you can marinate it. Marinate fish. Take your skin off. If you have salmon, take your skin off. The skin is another skin. And peel that off. It has scales on it, but if you like the skin, whether it's fried or baked or broiled, just take that skin off because that is the area of waste for all animals, okay? And use a small amount of food first, of the ambal Quebec. I'm not saying it right. Sambal olek. Just use a tiny bit at first. Stick your baby finger in your bowl water and taste it to see if it's okay for you. You don't have to add that. You can use it in rice dishes, especially good in soups. When you make your soup, starting off sauteing your onions and green peppers and some garlic, add a little bit of the olek and use that to make your sauce. Use a few potatoes, not many. Use some sweet potatoes, the Japanese yam and whatnot, instead of the high carbohydrate white potato. Mash those in, a couple of them mash in, and that makes a nice gravy for you. You won't have to add cream of mushroom soup in the can that has tremendous amounts of salt. Tell the children, you're teaching them how to cook, please do not use the packet. If they like ramen noodles, do not use that packet. Read it to them. Get the kids to read the labels. Let them know they can make their own soda, by the way, too. Soda has 78 grams of sugar in each bottle. That's too much sugar. They can make their own soda using 100% grape juice, 100% orange juice that's not from concentrate, and use it with some sparkling water. It's great for the kids to make their own soda. You can make your own soda too, and you're getting rid of, let me tell you something. There is not one orange in orange soda. There are no grapes in grape soda. There's no ginger in ginger ale. You can make your own, okay? You're still thinking about those bad foods that you're eating? So we name fried chicken, cupcakes, macaroni and cheese. My aunt used to make macaroni and cheese with 7 different cheeses. Oh my goodness. It was delicious, absolutely delicious. But we've learned over the years to moderate that. Cut it back to 2 cheeses. Use a vegan cheese. Use a vegetarian cheese. That's fat, that's cholesterol, and also the preservatives that they put in your food. Very harmful to our bodies. But the industry's up there trying to pump up everything to us. You hear me, my people, my friends? Try to change. What's another junk food that you eat? You like syrup on your pancakes? You can make your own syrup out of fruit. Take some cup of strawberries, put a little bit of water in the pan and let it boil down. It'll caramelize if it's not sweet, add a little bit of honey to it, okay? Leave the white sugar alone. Anything white we shouldn't be eating. Some of us are still eating it, but try to do the best you can to change those habits. You will feel better, I tell you. Take those pounds off and keep your cholesterol under 200. The measurement is a blood test that they give you. Test your urine for kidney disease, kidney disorders. March is kidney month, so if you see any kidney activities going on, please pay attention to that. It gives you very good information about keeping your kidneys healthy. Oh, this is nice. This is just nice right here. All right, let me get a plate. Oh, that's good.
Chef Fulani,
You can store these.
to
Yes, another
ask
question.
another question. And Irene, feel free to join in as well with these questions from the chat.
Okay.
So one question is, how can we support providing quality fresh food at reasonable prices?
How do you support that? I would say, we live in zone 6, I believe, and we don't get full year-round growing. But if you have a porch, a side entrance to your home, a backyard, the Urban Farming Institute has gotten a grant to give raised beds. If you live in our communities of Mattapan, Dorchester, Roxbury, they give you the soil, give you the ground covering. And in the spring, when it's time to start planting, say around Mother's Day, you can get free seeds and seedlings and grow your own. Look up your seed guide. How close do I put my radishes? How close do I grow my lettuce? Basil, parsley are very easy to grow. I have a kindergarten class that comes from one of the local schools, and there's 12 of them. They say, "Good morning, Mother Nature. Good morning, Mother Fulani." And they come in and I have it all set up for them to grow. Last year they grew parsley, sweet potatoes, they meet the roly-polies and the worms they get. And I have pictures of the digestive systems on the walls of the garden outdoors. They come in and sit down and they learn. They spend about an hour and a half with me, and then they walk back to their school. It's within walking distance. Good morning, Mother Nature. So I believe in starting them off young. They're 4 and 5 and they remember. How big is your tummy? My tummy is this big. You know, little things that you can give them to get them motivated to thinking about, well, what kinds of food am I supposed to be eating? You know, what should I eat? Oh, I don't want to eat that because that's bad for me, Mommy. I don't like that. You know, you got to teach them early. That way, the sicknesses will come later in life for them. When I was a child, it was our aunties, our grandmothers, our old godmothers that were 50 and 60, they were getting diabetes and all these kidney disorders and everything. But nowadays, the children are getting these disorders in their teens because they like to eat that, what is that, cheese balls with all the chemicals and the dye on it. So do that research and talk to them about that. That's a good way to get started, by growing your own food. I would say the first week in March, you can start growing inside on your windowsill. You get your little sweet potato pieces. Let me show you what I'm going to do soon, if I can find that real quick. I grow my own sweet potatoes. Oh, where are you? Where are you? Oh, I don't see it. I don't see it right now. But you take your when you buy your sweet potatoes at the store, and if you get organic sweet potatoes, you cut the tips off and you turn them over, lay them flat. They're about 1/2 inch wide, and you will take 4 toothpicks and stick it in the sweet potato end and put it in a glass of water and let it sit. Every other day, you're going to change that water. In about 30 days, you're going to see a little stem starting to grow from the top and the bottom. And that is your root. So when you go to the store to pick up your sweet potatoes, your yammies, your Japanese yams, whatever you want to grow, make sure there's a little piece of string hanging off one of the eyes. They're called eyes, right? And then you cut that, and that's going to grow a nice root system so you can plant your own. Sweet potatoes need 180 days to grow. You can put them in a grow bag. There's a lot that you can do on your porch, on your windowsill. Get them started. You can have grow lights inside your house, on a shelf or near your window. If there's not enough strong sun coming through, use a little grow light. That way you're saving money. You're growing your own food. You can redo your scallions. If you get scallions, cut them off, use what you have to use in your salad. Take that scallion, put that scallion right back in the ground. It will regrow. You'll get another term out of it. You know, and so just that way you're saving money. The prices have tripled. And be wise about your spending. I make banana ice cream. The bananas are brown. The bananas are yellow. So with yellow bananas, you cut them take the skin off and you peel them and take that string off. I was trying to find a bag that I did recently, so you can see how I do it. But anyway, we're going to freeze the bananas. Isn't that weird? My daughter must have ate the bananas. So I make banana ice cream for myself, and I get frozen blueberries and freeze them and put them in a food safety bag. Take them out, put them in your little miniature Vitamix or any kind of apparatus like that, a Vitamix or a food processor, blender, and make yourself some ice cream. Put a few drops of mint oil or lemon oil, and then you can freeze it back. And in the night, when you get that sweet little taste in your mouth, and you can enjoy some ice cream, some homemade ice cream made out of bananas and blueberries. Not all of the chemicals that they use to make in the real ice cream. And I was an ice addict for years, but I've stopped eating it now. What's your next question, dear?
One other question for either of you is, what is urban farming? Just get an explanation.
Oh, urban farming, okay. Farming and growing your own food means growing in the city. And there's the Clark Epstein farm that's located on Norfolk Street in Mattapan, on the borderline area of Mattapan and Dorchester. You should drive by sometime and get out and walk around. You can do that. It's a small space which allows community members to have a way to access their food. Because a lot of the local stores, I won't name them because I don't like to talk about that like that, but if they don't have fresh vegetables and they're not organic, if you go to the organic stores, the price triples. So you can grow your own food, or you have access to a farm every Friday that gives plants. Once the season is in the middle of the season, they start planting around the end of February. Certain vegetables can go on the ground early, even while the ground is cold. In the summertime, late summer, then they start having a farm stand every Friday, and you go and you buy your organic vegetables at a very reasonable price. So urban gardening is gardening in the city. It's not out in the suburbs on a big, large farm. You know, that's basically what it means, urban areas, okay?
I had another question, Chef Fulani. For people who want to learn how to garden in a smaller space, and you mentioned the Urban Farming Institute, but
Yes.
are there ways that we can get information to our patients who might like to learn more about how they could use the space that they have, which might not be too big, to grow some of their own food? Maybe start small, but how would they learn about this? And I would love to have you come and do a program for our patients at Mass General, because I think
that's
you're a wonderful, wonderful teacher.
Thank you. I would say find out where your local greenhouse is. The weather's not so hot right now, but the greenhouse always welcomes folks in. And I think they're relaxing some of the rules now because of the COVID. They weren't allowing people to come in. I belonged to the greenhouse for years, growing my own food in there. And go and see how they grow their own food. They can go on their phones, or they have a tablet or a laptop. If they're older, then someone can assist them to type in YouTube how to start a garden, how to start a garden on my porch, how to start a garden in my container, how to start a garden in my bag. There are shopping bags that you can grow sweet potatoes in right on your porch. And by using if you invest in a little bit of organic sweet potatoes, then you'll have those eye buds that I talked about, those pieces of string that you can plant. And in 180 days, as long as the weather is nice and hot, you're going to get sweet potatoes. And you're dying to look inside with the bag, but you cannot interrupt it. It grows a beautiful green vine, which tells you things are growing, and the bag starts to swell and you want to dig inside, but you have to leave it alone. 180 days. So by the time September rolls around from Mother's Day, you're going to reach down in there and you're going to say, oh my goodness, I feel a sweet potato. Or one of the children might have helped you to get it started. Let them do it. Did you find anything? Do you feel anything? You could add some table scraps to it. You can get a few worms and put the worms in there, and the castings from the worms help to fertilize the soil. Do not use artificial fertilizer. I won't name it because a lot of people believe in it, but try to get the organic fertilizer. And any of your table scraps, put them in a little bag. No sweet scraps, all vegetable scraps, the celery, the ends of the carrots, the ends of the collard greens and whatnot. And you could put it in a plastic bag or in a bowl on the side with a lid on it so you won't get the fruit flies, and use that to enhance your bag of sweet potatoes that's growing on your porch. So start off by using what you bought and don't throw everything away. Make sure you get those ends, those eyes of the sweet potato, okay? You can grow your own. Does that answer your question, dear?
Yes. And
Yeah,
I have yet another question. When you were talking about non-meat diet, I'm wondering what sources of protein you would recommend that might go with the green bean dish that you prepared that would not be a meat protein. So what kinds of things do you cook along with something like the green bean dish?
if you wanted to make like saute some substitute egg that does not have cholesterol in it, you can make a scrambled egg with a substitute egg. They have something that's called Just Egg. Next time I come on, I'll make sure that I have my screen ready so I can show them, so when they go in the stores that they can see what they need to buy. Something that's called Just Egg. It's made out of mung beans and made out of other beans, and it's really delicious. It tastes just like scrambled egg. It gives you 9 to 12 grams of protein. I'm just estimating because I don't remember the exact gram, but it's high enough. If you use, say, using a cup to make some scrambled eggs, you can saute your onions before that if you want an onion taste in it. And it whips up and it scrambles just like scrambled eggs, and you unbelievable taste. You don't taste the fat because it's not that fat, that cholesterol that's in it, but you can add a little bit of Earth Balance if you like that flavor of fat. But Earth Balance is made out of our oils, our different canola oils, different kinds of oils that have less cholesterol. You want to keep your cholesterol, I think I mentioned that, but under 200. You want to keep your cholesterol 140, 156. If you go to the gym, they usually can take you a little stick on your finger and they can tell you what level. Or when you go to your doctor, ask them, can we check my cholesterol levels? Can we do a CBC? CBC will give you all of the information about your blood levels of your body and tell you whether you're within normal limits, whether you're below normal, or whether you're extremely high in your blood. You can tell you whether you're anemic. It'll tell you your cholesterol, your kidney disorders. You know, there's a lot of tests that you can do with one stick, but you have to ask your doctor, do you mind checking off to see what my cholesterol is this time? Okay, check. You go to the lab, they'll take the tubes that they need, tiny, ask for a butterfly. Say, could you use a butterfly needle for me? I'm a bit squeamish about needles, and that's the tiniest needle. And 1, 2, 3, they do it, they're professionals. Get that blood drawn, and in 2 or 3 days, a week, you'll have all your results. Sign up for my chart, and you can, or whatever your hospital uses. It's a communication between you and your doctor, and they will have your blood values right in there. And they will also bug you about getting your COVID and all kinds of nice pieces in that my chart that will help you to talk with each doctor separately, and surgeon or your orthopedics person, and just take care, just self-care. You have to take care of yourself. Most of you, if you're living by yourself, make sure you self-care. Look at your skin, wash your teeth, wash your mouth out, rinse your teeth. If you have dentures, make sure you take care of those. And if you're aging, whatever you have a home health aide. keep an eye on her, make sure she's doing her part. She should be coming in your house well-trained to do what she's supposed to do, and make friends with them. Some people are still upset and angry about things. They may not be a good home health aide. If you do not like them, you tell your doctor, I'd like to change my home health aide, or you tell your supervisor, or your, what am I trying to say, the therapist that comes in to help you, tell them that you want to change. It's not a good match, me and my home health aide, my homemaker, my nurse's aide. Okay, don't be afraid to do that. Any more questions?
Of course. I was wondering also if we have patients or people in the community who are interested in, where's your cooking class for seniors?
I'm in my kitchen right now because we, like I told you, I was with the seniors at the farm, the Urban Farming Institute. We were there for 2 or 3 years together, but when COVID hit, we had to stop. And so they have the director there, Patricia Spence. She's amazing. She says, we're going to teach the seniors how to operate Zoom. And it was the funniest teaching. You know, they've got their phones on, they're talking on the phone. Hello, can you do that? Please turn your mics off. But finally, after 2 or 3 weeks, we all learned how to run the Zoom, and we started meeting. So every Thursday morning at 10 a.m., we have chair yoga, because that's what we did at the farm. Our chair yoga specialist is there, and she's got all the seniors in the chair, but now on Zoom, they're at home sitting in their chairs, and they're looking at her demonstrate how to stretch, how to get out of bed, what happens when you fall, how to bend your fingers back and exercise, and all the things that seniors need. She'll give it. That goes from 10 to 11. 11 o'clock, up pops Chef Fulani. I say, good morning, my friends. How are you? You know, and I'll start right in on them fussing, and we make funs, and we're learning how to write in the chat. And, you know, they tune right in. They know how to operate their iPads and their phones, laptops, and we have a wonderful time. And so each cycle is 10 weeks. So we are on our 11th cycle at the Urban Farming Institute, and it's been quite a pleasure. You know, it's been quite a pleasure. And they're with me for 1 hour, and then I'll ask for social time. I'll ask the secretary, can I have social time this week? So she'll give me an extra 20 minutes because my class goes from 10 to 11. No, from 10, hers is 10 to 11. I'm from 11 to 12. If I ask for social time, she'll give me till 12:15, and I'll go and sit down face to face with them, and we talk, we chat, we laugh, we share. If we lose one of our members, we lost one of our members, we pray for our members, we do everything. A wonderful group of men and women that come to the Urban Farming Institute, and it's called Fit Around the Farm. Because we had a body by Brandy. She would come and walk us all around the farm and have us bending over and doing all stuff outside when it got warmer, you know, inside, outside. We had weights, we have stretch bands. They just provide everything for us because they have a wonderful grant writer there. And Michelle Wu just came to visit, I think yesterday or the day before, to the Urban Farming Institute, where I'm happy. All right, let me plate up this food. It's getting to be 3:56. Let me get a plate or a bowl. Let's see, what do I want to use here? I think I'll use this just to put it so you can see how much, and then we'll review the, I want to review the ingredients again. And I have a young lady who makes up recipes for me. So what I'll do is make up a recipe, and then I'll send it to Dear, and she can get it over to you. So there we have a plate. Let's see this. This has been steaming in this nice sauce that we made. Let's get this on the plate. Now, since becoming a vegetarian, I can eat one piece. I don't have to have 3 or 4 different pieces on my plate because I'll make up for difference. Like lunch, I could have these string beans for lunch. I'm slowly chewing. I'm very mindful about what I'm eating. I don't drink any water while I'm eating. I let the juices from my saliva and the juices from my stomach to digest my food. Maybe 2 hours later, I'll have something to drink. They say drink warm water. And there's a lot of theories all over the world, you know that. Pick and choose what you listen to, pick and choose what's for you. Now with this meal, I would probably make a half a cup of brown rice if I felt like rice. I would also have maybe some tofu that would provide my protein. I like vegetarian sausages. There's a different varieties that are out that make vegetarian sausages. You have to make sure you read your label so you're not getting a lot of chemicals. I like Morning Star, but then I started reading the label and I said, well, I do like the way they make sausages, but I'm going to maybe not eat as many of those. I make my own sausages out of tofu. I know how to make fish out of tofu, and it's so nice because you can figure out how to make your own sausages so you don't have to buy the sausages that are that have any chemicals on them. You got to start reading your labels, please. Let me get a napkin here. Read your labels for everything. All the dye that's in soda. I mean, soda is absolutely delicious, but you have to. My grandma would make me set the table. And that's what we did when we were children. We had to set the table. This is our way. On the side of this, I'll probably have maybe 2 or 3 sausages for my protein, or some just egg. Or if I ate this by myself for lunch, I would make sure I got my protein and all my different nutrients for either my breakfast or my dinner. I don't eat after 7 o'clock anymore at all. I let my body rest and let the body take care of itself while I'm sleeping. In the morning, I wake up and I have my waters. I do infused water. Before I eat, I'll have some lemon, some grapefruit or a citrus, and squeeze lemon or lime or grapefruit in my alkaline water, and that's how I get my day started off. Let me read the ingredients to you. So this is called a spicy green bean. I used a teaspoon of vegetable oil, and that's vegetable oil of your choice. And look up the different vegetables oils, because some of them they may be $1, but how much saturated fat? I want you to read your labels, your saturated fat. 8 ounces of string beans, or whatever you like. If you have a larger family, you need more. 2 garlic cloves, whether it's fresh or the frozen ones that I showed you. I found a gem. And I wanted to show you the box, how it looks. Let's see me get it right here. There. Is that upside down?
Yes, maybe just turn it around.
I have to turn it the other way, right?
Right, perfect.
There it is. Okay, that's the garlic. And then let me show you the ginger. Ginger. Little cubes, little squares. Look how they come. Frozen. Keep those in the freezer. If you run out of your regular ginger. Ginger's off season, but the United States knows how to go down and get that ginger and all those different herbs, because they know there's a lot of Caribbean folks that live in the state of Massachusetts. They want to sell it to you. The pineapples are never ripe. If you go to Jamaica, you'll see what a pineapple really tastes like. This is the flax oil that I used. I'll use a spray. If I don't need a lot of oil, I'll use one of these sprays for olive oil. Keep my cholesterol down low. What else do I have here I can share with you? This is the olive oil that extra virgin olive oil. And then you do your research on olive oil, because they're talking about high intense olive oil, and some are too high, some are too low. So I'm satisfied with this one. I don't use much, but it gives it a nice taste. It doesn't give it that buttery taste, and you can use your curry powders. If you're making some soup, use a nice curry powder. I could have put curry on this, but I like to taste the regular bean, string bean. And this is my spicy green bean dish here. This is Nurse Fulani, Chef Fulani, saying good afternoon to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Enjoy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It was
You're
wonderful.
welcome. Bye-bye.